did your mic go offline?
I'm doing it so I'm quiet.
Can we leave this in?
Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Geek Tank. My name is Dave, and I'll be your host for tonight, and I am joined by Nate and Kyle, and tonight we are joined by our special guest and our friend in Geek Tankiness, Frostilyte, also known as Steve.
Yay.
Yay.
Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you back on, man. Actually, I think this is your first. This is your first time on Geek Tank, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was in the last episode of Xbox Best Friends. So this is my first official appearance on the new podcast.
And how does it feel?
It feels amazing. Feels like a lightning bolt hit the tip of my penis.
Whoa. I like that image.
I like that.
I don't like that.
Well, that's too bad.
Marvel Civil War. Okay, so other than that, guys, do you bleed? You will. On your penis. Whoa. Other than that, guys, how have we been this week?
Great. I've had a great week.
Yeah, I haven't really gotten a chance to talk to any of you guys, so I was just,
I got I Am Setsuna finally. I've been raving about that for so long.
Oh yeah, how's that going?
Oh my god, it's everything I want it to be. It's a little weird because so for those who still don't know, I Am Setsuna, it's like a classically inspired JRPG. They keep saying that it's like inspired by Chrono Trigger. It's not really. There are very little similarities other than like the fighting system is a little similar, I guess, but other than that, like it's just a normal sort of JRPG. It feels like it was made for a portable game device, and it's available on Vita in Japan, but we didn't get the Vita version.
Of course,
so
because they don't care about
because
Vita.
Vita means life, clearly.
Yep.
And
that's so ironic.
Right. So I'm playing it on PS4. The damage and like the leveling and stuff is a little wonky. Like I routinely run into situations where, like, I just got introduced to this new enemy, right? This new enemy type that's like very special. And the idea is that they're optional fights and whatever. And like I get into the fight and it's got a miss rate, or I guess like a maneuver, whatever rate of like really fucking high, like 98% or something.
Yeah.
And its health is maybe in the low hundreds, like an enemy that I would be able to take out fairly easily.
Yeah.
And so like it's not difficult to fight at all, and it doesn't do any damage really. So the whole fight, it's just you're spamming physical attacks on this thing, and I'm just like, why does this exist? There are some weird things in it, but like overall, I love the tone, I love the vibe. It's all piano music. It's the whole game is snowing. It's just continuing this singular theme, and it's very clear that's for like just because they didn't have a huge budget, so like they just continued that throughout the game to make it easier. But I really like the idea. It just makes the whole game feel a very certain vibe, and like the story itself I'm really into. It's essentially Final Fantasy X, just in a different wrapping. But I'm really enjoying it. I love it so far.
That's awesome, man. It's good to hear that their first outing is so good, because I was kind of worried about it.
Yeah, I'm excited for their next one for sure.
Yeah, and hopefully it only gets better. Okay, well, if that's it, then we're going to move on here. But first, ladies and gentlemen, we are the Geek Tank, a show where we dive right into the trenches of the gaming industry and give you our brutally honest opinions. You can find us on YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and every other platform every single week. If you like listening to this, please make sure to leave us a like or a favorite. Just let us know that you enjoy our show. Because whether it's your first or 15th time listening in, you're an honorary member of the battalion. Little slip up there. Sorry about that. Guys, are you still there? Do you hate
slippery goosey? Yeah.
You guys were really quiet, and I was like, "Oh, did they piss them off?"
I was trying to give you your space, man.
I need my space. You're right. Space, man. Okay,
back up.
Move, bitch! Get out the way. Sorry.
Oh,
So, without any further ado, we're going to move on to This Week in Gaming. Okay, so the first piece of news on the docket, I guess I'll say, is is a leak from Eurogamer.net saying Nintendo NX is a portable console with detachable controllers. I know we've all heard about it at this point, but I figured we'd just get this out of the way. It is news from last week. Nintendo's upcoming NX will be a portable handheld console with detachable controllers, a number of sources have confirmed to Eurogamer. On the move, NX will function as a high-powered handheld console with its own display. So far, so normal, but here's the twist. We've heard the screen is bookended by 2 controller sections on either side, which can be attached or detached as required. Basically, this thing's going to function like kind of like a Wii U tablet, but then you can take it anywhere. You don't need the console to go anywhere with you. There is no console, and you can take it and either stand it up like just like kind of like if you're on a table, you can like put it up like a tripod type thing and play it that way, or you can hook it up to your TV and play it on the big screen. So, what do you guys think about this?
I think so. A couple important takeaways here with the news piece. First off, obviously, it's a rumor, so like nothing's been confirmed. Like at this point, anything could happen. So a lot of people have been taking this as fact. I don't know if anyone should be doing that, just because Nintendo hasn't said anything themselves. And like for instance, in their financial report that came out in March, I believe, about the 2015 financial year,
right?
That's when they announced it and said that or at least the release date for the console would be next spring. And it's becoming more and more apparent that they're probably not going to make that because they haven't officially announced the console at all. And so everything that they've talked about has just been in financial and internal reports of NX. So anything could happen at this point. This seems, at least to me, like an idea that was on the cutting room floor. But with that said, it's interesting to note that like it just sounds like a reverse Wii U, like how the Wii U is a core console that you plug in and you can have the tablet, and this alternatively is the reverse of that, where you have the tablet and that plugs into the TV. And so whatever console, internals that would be, because we've known that this report also says that they have the NVIDIA Tegra mobile processor,
right,
which is, I believe, found in NVIDIA's Shield, which streams stuff. So like it's not going to be comparable to an Xbox One or a PS4 by any means. But I do really like the idea of like out of the box with these 2 detachable controllers on the sides. It's immediately a split screen playable, which I think is really useful, because we've also heard reports that Nintendo will also be coming out with this Super Smash Bros. Wii U upgraded version that will come out on the NX. Who knows if that's going to be true, but let's see. The report also said, which we've been hearing for a while, that it's going to be cartridge based. I think the size limit was like 35 gigs or something like that.
Yeah.
Something not very, very large, but at least in comparison to most games that come out, at least digitally, that sort of works fine. There are a few games that I believe that go over that limit.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't want this, right? Like, my whole deal is like, I wish Nintendo would just make another GameCube, but that's impossible because they can't compete in the market like that. So at this point, I'm down for whatever. Let them come out with whatever. It's not going to make me super happy, but it's gonna exist, and Nintendo's very good at making people upset. So.
Yeah, you've got that right. Yeah, I mean, I pretty much feel the same way, Kyle, except at the same time, I'm like, I think that as far as what NX could be, considering all the things we've heard, this is the best possible version of what we've heard that the NX could be. I mean, they said it's going to be a hybrid, so making it this thing where you can have both, and that you can have like an almost AAA experience in your hands is pretty awesome.
There is a clarification, though. They never said that it would be a hybrid. There was an Iwata interview last year, maybe 2015, before he passed, obviously. That's just said they had looked into it. That's all that's been said.
Yeah.
And the only reason I bring that up is because on Twitter, people have been passing it around like it's truth. And what is her name? Emily Rogers, who's that Nintendo blogger person.
Right, yeah.
She came out and just was like, hey, everybody slow their roll. This has never been confirmed.
Yeah, much like even this isn't confirmed, so it's all just rumors at the end of the day.
The difference is like this is based on credible reporters that have heard from sources that have said this, and what people have been passing around is essentially this misnomer.
Yeah.
Although more important to note that Kotaku reported that they had heard similar stuff, but they could not confirm anything.
Right.
So, a little bit of confliction here.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kotaku is just trying to stay a little more tight-lipped. It could just be some inner politics type thing. That, or they're just not able to confirm it. Like the person they heard it from is not somebody that they 100% trust. I mean, who knows? But
maybe they have one source saying it, and
yeah, I think
Eurogamer has the sufficient amount that they require or whatever.
Yeah, and something that the Kind of Funny guys actually mentioned, which was pretty interesting, was that typically stuff that's announced right around the time that there's supposed to be an announcement tends to be true. And the supposed NX announcement at this time is in September. So make of that what you will. I mean, it's only a month away. But it could be another red herring. Could be, like that frigging controller they leaked out a couple months ago. Or was it like almost like half a year ago? And it was like this really like shitty looking egg thing that nobody liked.
Oh, the thing where someone photoshopped?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And somebody came out and was like, yeah, this was a very elaborate prank, and I'm sorry.
Pretty impressive Photoshop, I would say.
Yeah. I was pretty impressed, to be honest.
NeoGAF was going crazy with that. Like, they were trying to figure out the reflection in the window and figure out what building it was.
That's why that was so amusing.
Yeah. Oh, internet, don't you ever change. Okay, so do we have any last thoughts on the NX?
Based on... Yeah, thanks, Kyle. Based on the reports that were, or I guess that report, if this were true and it kind of functions like a handheld and kind of like a home console, the prospect of Nintendo's internal development studios only having to work on one system with games instead of splitting their resources across a handheld and a home console line of games, that, as somebody who was a longtime Nintendo fan, has me quite excited, because that means that they would, like, you'd have potentially one piece of hardware that you're buying the games that you want from Nintendo on, so there'd be a more steady flow, like ebb and flow of games that I would be interested in, because like I like Nintendo games, but I don't like all of them.
Right.
That's a super good point.
So like that notion, like the notion of that happening, and this rumor is actually the first time ever that the NX has ever been hey, I might actually buy this, instead of no, there's not a chance in hell I will ever purchase this piece of shit. So yeah, I've spent more time on Nintendo handheld consoles over the years than I have on their home consoles. So after the Wii was kind of what it was, and the Wii U was a step up, but didn't have a whole lot of games for it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, yeah, I'm kind of done with Nintendo home consoles. I'll still buy the handheld ones because I like the games.
Yeah, I mean, basically. Sorry, Kyle.
Sorry. I'm just confused. Like, would this be a console anyone would play out and about? Like, I don't imagine myself pulling out a tablet with two controllers attached to it and just being like, oh yeah, let's play some Mario or whatever.
I wouldn't, but I've always played Nintendo's handhelds just in my bedroom or my house. I have never played them on the go, so I'm not necessarily a good basis of this is how you're supposed to play mobile games.
I mean, that's how I use my Vita at the moment, yeah. So
yeah, me too. Like, the majority of my... Sorry.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, like, so if this was a thing, I'd have the docking station and the ability to play it on the TV or whatever, but I'd just play it sitting in bed all the time. Like, I'd play it the same way I play the handheld right now.
That's more or less how I finished Persona 4 Golden on the Vita. Like, I played the first, maybe 10 hours of the game when I was on vacation, and then the rest of it just in my room.
Yep.
But that's pretty much how I'd use the NX, to be honest. Like, when I went on trips, it would be an awesome thing to bring with me. Like, just to have it, like, on the plane, to have it wherever I go. And then, when I'm at home, just have it plugged into the TV. That's it.
I'm super interested to see how it does, if this is true, in Japan, just because Japan is so...
Japan
not mobile focused, but, like... Yeah, it's just... it's difficult for any portable device in the main gaming sphere to really take hold, because like the 3DS, it was still able to do really well, but as of lately, obviously, because they haven't been making as many games for it, it's been faltering a little bit. So this idea that the NX could possibly just try to win back that market, I think, is at least intriguing. I don't think it's possible, but they've said before that they're focusing on the kids, younger generation of gamers than how like 20 to 30-year-olds that are playing PS4s and Xbox Ones. So I think I'm not gonna say that I think Nintendo's gonna succeed in what they're trying, but I also don't think they're gonna fall flat on their faces.
No,
but then again, like, I don't believe this is like a 100% true report either, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, even if this is true, I don't think this is the game changer. I think it's just this is pretty cool. It'll do well.
Yeah.
That's what bums me out the most. Like from day one when we heard about the NX, this is what people were talking about. It was immediately talked about, like, oh hey, what if it's a portable console hybrid? And then everybody started talking about it. And to know like we figured it out literally on day one is a little depressing.
Well, then,
kind of like, I was gonna say, it's kind of like when, or at least when I was a kid. I don't know about the rest of y'all, but when I was a kid, I would, whenever there's presents on the Christmas tree, I would always friggin' shake them and try and figure out what they were. And I got like 90% of them right.
That's depressing. I never did that, actually.
Oh man, it was the best.
I just
never shook Christmas
shit
presents
beforehand.
I was a good kid. I stayed until Christmas morning, until both my parents were up. Both of my parents. I waited until everyone was up, and then I opened presents. I never did the like trying to shake the presents, trying to open them the night before. I never did that.
I never tried to open them. I just tried to figure out what was inside of them.
Yeah.
Did you ever forge your report cards?
No, I didn't. I didn't have any reason.
It's just that you brought it up, Kyle. It's not even like me or Nate. Like, you brought it up.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, so do we have any last thoughts on the NX?
Nope.
Cool. Moving on, we're got a story out of gamesindustry.biz, which reports that gaming revenues down 9% at Microsoft as hardware sales slow. Microsoft issued its quarterly financial report yesterday, painting a profitable picture for the company as a whole despite the mixed fortunes of the Xbox division. Gaming revenue at the platform holder was down by 9%, a drop of $152 million. Console hardware revenues were down by a third. It says, quote, mainly due to a decline in consoles sold and lower prices of consoles sold. Presumably an indication of the declining market interest for a machine, which many see as soon being superseded by the forthcoming Model S and Scorpio. The 4K supporting Xbox One S is due to launch in a fortnight, which is 2 weeks. Scorpio, and is expected to be available in the winter of 2017. I am very tired, guys. I apologize. I'm brain dead right now. Anyway, honestly, what I'm seeing from this is just because A, they dropped the price down to $249. B, everyone knows the Xbox One S is coming out. So, so why are we even? Well, I get why we're reporting on it, but like it's not that big of a deal.
So here's the thing. This is the time of the year where everyone is talking about financial reports. So Sony also came out with theirs. Clearly, they're doing very well. The big headline that people have pulled out of Sony's is that I believe PlayStation, the division of Sony, is just making more money than anything else, which has been reported on before, but it's also, I think, what is it? It's a pretty high percentage. I don't know off the top of my head.
Right.
And like you said, the gaming revenue is down at Microsoft, 9%, which is, fairly depressing. But the point being is that they attribute it to the decline in consoles sold and the lower prices of consoles sold. And this is something that at least I personally have been talking about for a while, that console sales and the tense competition between the two. Microsoft has been pushing lower prices for a while now. They had maybe a year, not even, out on the market with a full price at launch. And so at the moment, it's at $249. You can go buy an Xbox One brand new for $249 right now because the Xbox One S is coming out, and that's only temporarily.
Yeah,
so it's gonna go back up when the S launches. The S is planning to take over for the original Xbox One.
Yeah.
And the thing that I think is important here is that the console sales is revenue, right? That's the important part. It's not the units sold. And if you look actually over at the the actual Xbox Live user base amount, that has been rising, even though Sony has reported recently that they broke through the digital market share and they have more PSN users than Xbox Live now, which is really surprising. Xbox Live hit, I think, 49 million users. So the digital side of things is going up. So what I see from this report is that Microsoft is actually doing really well, and they're setting themselves up for, at least when the Xbox One S launches, a really good launch of that console. And from what I've seen, there's been numerous NeoGAF threads, people on Twitter talking about this, that people are now getting into the mood of buying an Xbox One as opposed to getting prepped for the PS4 Neo, just because, you know, the PS4 is going to be compatible with everything the Neo can do. And it looks like people are just willing to get more interested in expanding into the console base of Xbox One. And I think, can't remember where I saw this, but there was a study that said most hardcore gamers would prefer, there's a certain year in the console generation where they are willing to buy a second console and just own as many as they can, because the point being is that these consoles, at least in theory, are sold off of the exclusivity rights.
Right.
And so to me, I think this is setting Xbox up for perhaps a comeback. I do not believe that they're going to retake market share from Sony and, you know, surpass the gigantic, what are they at now, 40 million, something like that?
Yeah,
some gigantic amount of PS4 sold. So I don't think that's going to happen. But Xbox One is actually going to dip below 360 sales. No. PS4 sales are dipping below PS2 sales for the time being. Xbox One has been narrowly ahead of 360 for its entire lifespan. So I think this is going to push it over the edge, and PS4 might be starting to plateau a little bit. I don't think they're going to sell as much as PS2, but and at least this is if my assumptions are correct, and that Xbox One sales begin to see an uptick from players from PlayStation that are going to be buying that console. So I think personally, this specific financial reporting is fairly telling, and I think at least in the coming years, we're going to be seeing a little bit more of a specific competition between the two. And since Scorpio and Neo are coming out as well, I'm thinking that those aren't going to be as well sought after as people are assuming. Prices for those are going to drop, and I'm assuming by a year's end next year, we're going to be seeing PS4 and Xbox One constantly, like the standard models, at $250 even.
Which is crazy to think about. I mean, it's just like those consoles, I mean, you feel like they just came out, but really this November it'll be 3 years. And
wow.
Yeah, think about that. It's been 3 years.
But it is important to note that this is a faster price cut than we've ever seen.
Yeah, it is. And
the reason for that, at least, is just because these consoles are so similar, and the exclusivity is not what's really selling people right now.
Well, it's just not there anymore. I mean, there isn't really like this. There isn't the same amount of exclusives even from last generation, let alone PS2, Xbox. Like, you know, it's
and some of that's good. Some of that's just because third parties are becoming more, universal.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've seen from Sony, they don't have much on the docket. They finally had an E3, in my opinion, where they have announced a lot of games that are going to be exclusive. Xbox has always had fairly good years in terms of exclusive games, but the Xbox lineup of games I don't think is as appealing as PlayStation. They just have more volume. But because of that, because of the size, I think there's a lot of games that someone who bought an Xbox One right now would have to play. They've got Rise of the Tomb Raider, which is coming out on PS4 at the end of this year, but still, they got Rare Replay, they've got Gears of War coming out, they've got Forza, they've got
Halo 5.
Exactly.
And
so
they have
a good amount of
yeah.
So I think I do think Xbox is going to start seeing a big uptick. I don't think people are taking the right information out of this report, in my opinion, anyway.
I think that it's also a thing, especially with the E3 thing, and we discussed this during our E3 discussion, that Xbox tends to announce things that are only coming out this year or next year, whereas Sony tends to go way down the line. Yeah. So it's like, yes, their game lineup looks better compared to Xbox's. That's because they're reaching way further than Xbox is.
We're not going to see games for probably the next 3 years.
Don't expect to see like the Spider-Man game. Like, don't expect to see that anytime soon.
Right.
The
That is
Kojima
kinda
game,
interesting.
forget it. You know,
Might as well not exist.
exactly. It's just like they simply did that for a crowd pleaser, and we're not going to hear that again for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, The Last Guardian, man, 8 years.
Yeah,
This is good though.
I'm excited to play that game too. Like I was watching a Let's Play of Shadow of the Colossus, and I was like, I want to play Last Guardian. That's gonna be a good game.
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope it's good. If it's bad,
If it's bad, will you eat a PS4?
no.
It's probably not going to be bad. It's probably just not going to live up to the
Yeah.
Oh,
the
yeah.
amount of like
Yeah.
expectation and hype that people have based on Shadow of the Colossus.
That I could get behind,
I'm
100%.
betting it's going to be pretty simplistic. Like, there's not going to be a whole lot of environment difference.
Yeah, because it was built on PS3. Like that's they had to up-res it for PS4. It's basically a PS3 game that's been remastered.
Even still, it doesn't look that nice.
Yeah,
No, it doesn't.
And it's not gonna look nice
because it
as-
used to be built
yeah.
on a PS3.
exactly. Like Persona
That's the
4 can,
processor, baby.
yeah, Persona 5 can get away with that because it was built on a PS3, but it's a lot more stylized, so people don't care as much.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, that
But,
freaking victory screen. Have you seen that?
I think I saw it. I don't know. I have to watch it
Oh
again.
my God.
But the game
Shit
looks so good.
sleek.
But we'll talk about that later. Anyway, do we want to have any last thoughts on the gaming revenue at Microsoft being a little bit down?
Nope.
No. Okay. More Microsoft stuff. Moving on, we have Microsoft plans to sabotage Steam, says Sweeney. It's the original story. Tim Sweeney has never been shy with his criticisms of Microsoft's Universal Windows platform, but his jabs appear to be getting increasingly pointed. In March, he warned that there is a danger that Microsoft could neglect and possibly even degrade Windows 10 support for standard Win32 apps over time. In a new interview with Edge, as covered by the magazine's sister site PC Gamer, Sweeney said that the process has already begun, with Valve's Steam storefront as one of its first targets. He is quoted saying, "Slowly, over the next 5 years, Microsoft will force patch Windows 10 to make Steam progressively worse and worse and more broken. They'll never completely break it, but it will continue to break it until in 5 years, people are so fed up that Steam is buggy that the Windows Store seems like an ideal alternative." That's exactly what they did to their previous competitors in other areas. Now they're doing it to Steam. It's only just starting to become visible. Microsoft might not be competent enough to succeed with their plan, but they're certainly trying. So what do you guys think of this? I mean, this is...
Hashtag fuck the Windows Store. First
yeah,
of all.
the Windows Store sucks.
Second
Yeah,
of
but
all,
that's
if they engage in such anti-competitive activities, then the U.S. government will sue them like they did back in the 1990s or 80s.
Yeah, and
One of the two.
I think this guy he takes it as a given that Valve would somehow not have a problem with this.
Right, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, and that it's just like something Windows can just do, which I'm sorry, but like as much as I have taken issue with Valve as of late, there's still a bunch of really smart friggin' guys and girls and people.
Yeah, they're not going to sit back and let Windows slowly dole out literal patches to fuck up their own service on Windows. It doesn't make any sense. Like,
Yeah.
I understand the comparison he's making to how Microsoft handled pretty much their monopolization over like having Microsoft Word and the Office suite.
Right.
But the difference there is like you got to think about how that stuff started. They went from a 20% market share against WordPerfect up to 90 in a matter of a couple of years.
Dude, I forgot about WordPerfect.
Exactly.
Perfect was my
Who
shit,
remembers
man.
that shit?
Holy
But
crap.
also on top of that, a lot of the guys that were a part of the Office suite wound up working on Xbox. So like, I can understand where he's coming from and the unease there. But it's
Yeah.
like the thing that he's accusing them of, like not only is this paranoid, but it's preposterous just because it's like he's accusing them of stuff that's similar to how like Time Warner was like speed throttling Netflix. And it's like he's okay, first off, the only guy talking about this and like he's really championing this. If Microsoft stayed silent or just tried to shut him up, okay, maybe that'd be a little shady, but they have repeatedly tried to talk to him about things, tried to get Tim Sweeney to like look at their stuff and be like, okay, what do you think we can change? What do you think, works? Like they actually just released out a statement to Game Informer on this whole thing. They said, Tim, I got the quote right here. Tim is a respected figure in the gaming world, and we value his opinion. As stated previously, the Universal Windows platform is a fully open ecosystem that is available to every developer and can be supported by any store. It's early, and we recognize that there's still work to be done, but we want to make Windows the best development platform regardless of technologies used. So like their goal, of course, is to steal market share and away from Origin and Steam, stuff like that, because they have never been a big player in the PC gaming space because of that. Because, like Frost said, Windows Store sucks. Or games for Windows sucks. You know, every time they've tried,
games for Windows sucks so bad.
Exactly.
Yeah,
they've just been terrible things that they need to get the hell out of real quick because they realized that, you know, they didn't go into it the right way. Universal Windows platform, I can totally understand because it's pulling from not only Xbox and PC but also mobile, right? It's conglomerating all of that stuff together.
Right.
Sort of.
Okay, but like, just still the paranoia. I just don't understand the logic that's going into this. Essentially accusing them of some pretty crazy stuff. Like, their response to this, I think, was fairly well handled. I think Tim Sweeney is being like, I just don't know. Like, Epic doesn't have that strong of a tie to Microsoft anymore. Maybe they didn't have a very good relationship with them when they were doing Gears. So like, he just feels like Microsoft would do something shady like this. I just don't understand where it's coming from.
Yeah, he's being a bit of a fuckboy right now, but I do understand where his trepidation is coming from, because Microsoft is a company that, as I said before, has conducted an anti-competitive activity and has had legal action taken against them by the United States government. So it's not outside of the realm of possibilities, and I think Tim's coming from the mindset of he wants to make sure that people are aware that this is a thing that can happen, and that, like, we shouldn't be complacent. We shouldn't wait for it to happen before we try and react to it. We should be proactive. We should be on Microsoft's case, and we should make sure that none of this kind of shady shit where a previously open platform, which is Windows for the last 20 some odd years, eventually, based on some speculation with how UWP works, Microsoft could, in theory, make it a closed platform instead, which, as someone who develops software for a living, that would suck balls, and I would really rather not have that happen.
Right.
Even from like a gaming perspective, that would also suck, as Mr. Sweeney suggested, because we'd have to go through Microsoft for everything instead of being able to choose, oh, hey, I want to get some EA games, so I'm going to go to Origin, or I want whatever the newest hotness is on Steam, or maybe I picked up some games from a Humble Bundle. I don't know.
Right, and I can kind of understand where this comes from, because they're kind of exiting this period now, but I'd say like from the end of the 2000s into the 2010s, like Microsoft was trying real hard to be Apple, and that is what Apple is. Like, they're a closed system. You have to go through Apple to get anything.
Suck fucking balls.
That's why no one likes Apple.
Well, at least it's why computer people don't like Apple.
Exactly.
Yeah,
they like people that matter.
Oh shit.
Calling people out. Okay. So I guess at the end of the day, I mean, I can see where he's coming from, but I did kind of see that picture on the website with like a tinfoil hat on, because I was like, all right, dude. Yeah. Like,
it's just so extreme.
I started or prefaced this with saying that he's being a fuckboy. I don't, like he said, they're already like, oh yeah, Microsoft is already degrading Steam's performance. Okay, that's a great general statement. Can you give us a more specific statement? No, because anything you're gonna say is probably not true, and then Microsoft can sue your ass for speaking falsehoods. So like it's like I said, it's something I could see maybe happening, but at present I think he's reacting a little over the top.
Yeah, that's my whole point. Yeah, it's just like, with the evidence given, maybe temper your response a little bit is all I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So will that be the final thought on that?
Hashtag fuck the Windows Store.
Sounds good. All right, moving on. So this next one is the International 2016 breaks the all-time record for an esports prize pool. The International, which is the largest Dota 2 tournament of them all, for those who do not know, basically this game's WrestleMania, if you will, has just broken the record for the largest esports prize pool in history. This year's pool is currently sitting at $18,656,487, surpassing the record that it itself had set in the previous year by a good $200,000 margin. This figure is expected to rise further still, as there is still another 17 days of crowdfunding to go before Valve closes it down upon conclusion on August 13th. And you can actually find a graph of this if you really want, but who really cares? Anyway, so what do you guys think about this? $18 million.
That is crazy.
That's absolutely absurd.
It's like winning the lottery.
Fucking video games.
Like, if you guys remember, like Halo 5's prize pool was like $1 million, I think. It was like something like that.
Yeah.
Whereas this is like 18 million. And like, can you imagine like how set someone would be if they actually won this? Like, holy, yeah.
You gotta split it 5 ways plus management.
Oh,
I'd kill him.
Oh, shame. You only get 3 million take home.
It's Dota. It's a 5-player game, not a single player game.
But still, you're a millionaire.
I'll make it a
after
single player game.
Dude, that's absolutely absurd. And
these MOBA tournaments are so goddamn extreme, and I don't understand. Like, even in terms of esports, like, it's a pretty inclusive community. It doesn't grow very much. It's stagnated for a while, and it's just so huge already.
Yeah.
That like, it doesn't matter. It's just exploding over the top. And personally, I feel like this is a bubble that's going to burst. I think at some point, MOBAs are something's gonna happen.
Eventually.
But, I mean, Dota 2 making more in its prize pool than League of Legends, I think, is a pretty big story in and of itself.
Right.
But yeah, this fucking number, man, I can't even fathom this.
Yeah. That's like,
it's just the legitimacy of esports is a legitimate form of competition among individuals, as well as a piece of entertainment you can put on
I'm
a
gonna
sports
quit
network,
ESPN
man.
if they show another dang video game.
fucking
with the times, old man.
nerds.
Why aren't they playing real sports
Like golf.
like golf?
Sports ball.
I don't know. I mean, that is like basically the thing I said. First thing that popped into my mind actually was, if someone ever tells you that you can't make money playing video games,
They're fucking wrong.
yeah, just show them that article. Like, that's 18 million fucking dollars.
You got to pick the right game.
Yeah, you do. I mean, you can't make money playing like
Well, there's always streaming for every single
Yeah.
video game.
yeah.
I was gonna say, there's streaming, there's YouTube, there is competitive fighting games, competitive shooting games, competitive shooters.
I'm gonna make a
MOBAs.
living playing porn video games.
Yeah?
You can't tell me what to do, Mom.
You have to think that like some of these guys who are playing Dota like full time do stream just to make more money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like you're doing it anyway, so why not? I mean,
some of them do, right?
Yeah, well, that and you can keep in contact with your fan base a little bit better too.
there you go. It's perfect.
I hate watching FaZe.
Hey, watching what?
FaZe.
What's phase?
It's a team clan thing. I don't know. They're really big.
Honestly, like, I have a hard time watching like competitive esports on Twitch, to be honest. Like, I watch this guy Ninja, who's a competitive Halo player, and like I think the guy's really good at the game, but like listening to those guys like shout at each other over comms for the entire match, it's actually kind of annoying to listen to.
Yeah, I don't like watching shooter esports because I think they get a little too extreme with their like you were saying, the shouting and shit. Like, on occasion they could get borderline just like offensive with some of that stuff.
Right.
But like, there's this really funny Eurogamer video that came out like in 2013, and it was just a cut of the Call of Duty Esports Championship and just like all of the shit they said during the match, and it's just like, this is the dude bro side of gaming.
Yeah.
Really. And but I really do enjoy watching fighting game tournaments.
Yeah,
I think it's really well, just because it's really easy to figure out who's winning and who's losing.
Yeah.
I think that's why whenever Evo puts Street Fighter V up on ESPN2, I think that was a good pick. Like, I don't think Counter-Strike is a good game to show on TV, but
yeah,
I mean, regardless even of that, Twitch numbers did so much bigger than ESPN's, which is saying something.
Well, yeah, I mean, ESPN's going to be hostile towards it for the next like 10 years. Like, they're not going to be.
Yeah, that relationship I think is going to be really interesting when it starts to grow. Because if they are going to get into esports, then like they need to do a big push, or else it's not going to matter. And it's essentially arguing the legitimacy of esports,
right,
whenever that happens.
Exactly. And really, this is, again, we're not really going to start to see this until at least a couple more years from now.
Right.
Yeah. So, do we have any final thoughts on the international and its ridiculous prize pool?
Fuck you, Dota.
That's a good note to leave off on. Okay. Next one comes from GameSpot. Did you buy a GTX 970?
Yes.
Well, then NVIDIA owes you $30.
I live in Canada, goddammit.
But you live in Canada, so they do not owe you those $30. Sorry. Anyone in the United States who purchased a GTX 970 may be eligible for a $30 payout from NVIDIA thanks to a proposed settlement in a class action lawsuit. Last year, a series of lawsuits were filed against NVIDIA and NVIDIA card manufacturers over what amounts to false advertising. The main issue raised in the lawsuit was that the GTX 970, advertised as having 4 gigs of VRAM, in fact does not, at least not exactly. Within a few months of the 970's launch in September 2014, owners discovered that the games used more than 3.5 gigabytes of memory ran into performance issues that weren't happening on the GTX 980. The following January, NVIDIA revealed that the configuration for streaming multiprocessors on the two cards are different. As a result, the 970's memory was split into 3.5 gigabytes and 0.5 gigabyte sections. It claimed this didn't result in meaningful impact on performance, but as PC Gamer reported at the time, numerous users reported issues when playing games that were used more than 3.5 gigabytes of VRAM. It was also discovered by PC Perspective that the 970 had a smaller L2 cache and fewer render output processors than NVIDIA had originally claimed. So yeah, this happened. They finally settled this lawsuit. I remember we heard about this a while ago because it was, it's pretty blatant.
This shit just went way over my head.
Basically,
they said it did one thing and it didn't do it, so they sued them.
Yeah,
that's basically the TDL.
I guess I'd liken it to how the PS4 has 8 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM. If it ended up being like 7.5 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM, or it ended up being like 8 gigabytes of just regular DDR3 RAM and they just lied. That's the best way I can really go about it.
I got a better comparison, Dave.
Yeah.
Kyle, you buy a toaster. The toaster's advertised as having a bagel button, so it can cook bagels properly. You get the toaster out of the fucking box, you set it up, and you get your bagel and you're prepped and you're real excited for it, and you look for that bagel button, you can't fucking find it because it doesn't
Where's
have
that bagel
one.
button? I'll just promise.
Exactly. They promised 4 gigabytes of VRAM. It had 3.5.
NVIDIA, where's my fucking bagels?
Where's my bagel button? Kyle just posts something to NVIDIA's Twitter. Where's my fucking bagel button, NVIDIA?
Long live the bagel button.
Oh, man.
There you go. There's a low-key, relatable, technical, or non-technical thing of what happened.
It's... bagel button. Okay.
This is how I explain non-technical things to people whenever I say something to them and they look at me like I have 4 heads and 12 eyeballs.
Sounds hot.
Oh, man.
The thing that amazes me the most with this is that regardless of when you bought the card, as long as you are an American, you can collect the $30 you're entitled from the class action lawsuit. By the time I bought my card, which was I think 6 or 7 months after the launch of it, I already knew that this was a thing, so I bought it knowing this was a thing. So I can't imagine everyone who's going to be collecting money from this didn't know about the false advertising and the performance stuff, but right. They can still collect the $30.
Yeah, which is cool. I mean, honestly, out of the people who didn't know, only a small percentage of those people are actually going to collect, and then there's going to be a small percentage of those people who did know who are going to collect. It's not really going to be that many people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, do we have any final thoughts about this? I mean, it's just kind of, yeah, it's whatever.
Hashtag I want my fucking bagel button.
There we go. Okay, so now we are going to be moving on to another section of the podcast. This is games coming out this week. So the first one on the docket is Galgun Double Piece, which is coming to PlayStation 4. The summary is as such. Hodai, a typically incompetent high school boy when it comes to the matters of the heart, accidentally eats a full power Cupid shot and becomes insanely popular with the ladies at the academy. However, having an entire lifetime sex appeal condensed into one day is not without its problems. Our hero finds out the hard way that being Mr. Popular isn't all it's cracked up to be. Hodai must somehow resist every cute girl that throws herself at him in an effort to find his true love. If Hodai doesn't find the quote-unquote the one and confess to her by the end of the day, he will be forever alone.
So this is like a reverse dating simulator?
Basically.
That's so cool.
And what's interesting to note is that it has a 62 score on Metacritic, but like a couple of websites actually gave it good reviews. Like Destructoid gave it a 75. Hardcore Gamer gave it an 80. Digitally Downloaded, which I haven't heard of, they gave it a 90. Which is
oh my god, guys! If you pre-order the special edition of this game, you get a pair of panties that you can use to clean your screen.
What?
I saw that Greg Miller was
awesome.
doing that. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I saw Greg Miller was doing that on his unboxing. But
oh, Jesus,
this is like, I don't even know. Like, just never change, Japan. Never change.
Guys, it happened. There's finally a game I need to buy the PS4.
Okay, moving on. So, Batman, the Telltale series, Episode 1, Realm of Shadows, coming to pretty much every platform on August 2nd. Rendered to look like a living, breathing comic book, Telltale's vision of Batman features a cast of talent including Troy Baker in the role of Bruce Wayne.
Bruce Wayne.
Like Travis Willingham as Harvey Dent, Erin Yvette as Vicky Vale, and Rydell as Alfred Pennyworth, Murphy Guyver as Lieutenant James Gordon, Richard McGonigal as Carmine Falcone, and Laura Bailey as Selena Kyle. It literally just went through the voice actors. Didn't even say what the game was, really. But yeah, it's a Telltale game about Batman.
It's a fucking Telltale game. We know what it is already.
Yeah.
I have a question about this one.
What?
So, is this like a direct adaptation of Spider-Man Homecoming, or is it like its own thing?
Go fuck yourself, Nate.
Just fuck out of here with that bullshit.
I do have a question though, like a legit question.
Sure.
Do we know if this one is being built with the improved version of Telltale's engine? Because they did say they were going to improve the engine to not run like dog shit on the consoles.
Yeah, from what I understand, this one is built on the newer engine. We'd have to probably ask Josh about that. I don't know.
It's also multiplayer, right?
Yeah. Wait, multiplayer you said?
Wait, what?
I heard it was multiplayer.
I don't know about that.
Pretty sure.
Catwoman.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know about that. That's probably something I should have looked up, but I didn't. So we're gonna move on.
Looks things up.
So we're gonna move on if that's fine, because I don't want to draw too much attention to the fact that I didn't look this up. Okay.
It under the bed.
So this next game coming up
is multiplayer. No, we can't move on. It's
we're
totally
moving on, Nate. We are moving on, Nate. You
play Spider-Man and Batman.
Go fuck yourself. Okay. The next game is on the same day, August 2nd. It's called Abzu. It's coming to PlayStation 4. Abzu is a grand descent into the depths of the sea, where players explore ocean environments with fluid swimming controls. The experience draws inspiration from the deep, innate narrative that we carry within our subconscious. The story of Abzu is a universal myth that resonates across cultures. The name references a concept from oldest mythologies. It is a combination of the two ancient words AB, meaning ocean, and ZU, meaning to know. Abzu is the ocean of wisdom. I didn't say
it's coming to it's coming to PC as well.
It's coming to PC as well, yeah.
I have seen a lot of screenshots of this game. It looks fucking gorgeous. Really into it.
I haven't seen anything about it.
It's an underwater exploration game.
Well,
I don't know if it's got many objectives or if the whole premise behind it is just to kind of explore and see what the developers all put together. But it looks phenomenal. as far as like visually and artistically.
Yeah, you can see like schools of fish swimming around you, and like these vortexes of fucking sea mammal creatures. It looks amazing.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, super into it. I love games like
Awesome.
this. Like, it reminds me of a not insane version of Child of Eden,
Oh, interesting.
without the music, obviously.
Yeah, may check that out. Who knows? Anyway, moving on. Next is a game coming out on August 5th. Is Cannon Brawl for the Xbox One. Cannon Brawl is a 2D action strategy game with big explosions and destructible terrain. Command the action from your airship to build cannons, capture mines, expand your territory, and more. Choose from the multitude of buildings, cannons, and towers to assemble a force that will rain destruction from the sky and defeat your enemy. Advance your military campaign across the map in a single-player mode or duke it out in multiplayer mode. That's extremely generic sounding.
Duke it out.
Duke it out. With the Duke
Looks
controller.
like a mobile game.
With the Xbox
Ooh.
Duke controller, just throw it at each other.
Daisy
I just
Duke.
imagine two Duke controllers like rubbing against each other, like really sexually.
And then a little Xbox One
Duke
S
it
controller
out,
comes out of it, yeah. Okay, so that's
I
all.
don't know what else to say about that.
Moving on. That's all I gotta say about it. We're moving on. Next game's coming out on August 1st. I'm going back in time, I guess. It's actually 15 minutes from now. Dead Island Retro Revenge for the Xbox One. Get ready for some 16-bit retro revenge when his beloved cat gets kidnapped. Max sets out across a zombie-infested California to get him back by force. Wow.
I have not heard about this.
Thought it already came out with the.
It's also on PC and PlayStation 4.
Yeah, it's already out on PC.
That's probably what it was. All right, I don't really have much to say about this. I don't know about you
I didn't
guys.
even know about this game.
Yeah, it's another Dead Island game. I didn't even like the first one, so yeah, whatever.
They really need to chill the fuck out with that series.
Yeah, they've ran it into the ground and they're just kind of digging it even further. That's basically how I feel about
Just
it
get
at
the
this point.
second one out.
Well,
Just
the second one looked good, and then they just killed it.
Yeah. Well, that was because of Dying Light, because it was being advertised the same time Dying Light was, so they were just like, let's not do that.
Well, also Geeks Studios got taken off the project.
Right. Yeah, they dropped publishers and developers like a couple times, didn't they?
Well, it's still the same publisher.
Yeah, but just developer kept getting switched around.
But I think it's on the second or third developer. I'm not 100%.
Only the third,
Yeah, not a big deal. It's doing fine.
NVD. Okay, moving on to the last release that I'm actually relatively serious about. August 2nd, we have the game Tricky Towers coming out for the PC. Tricky Towers is a multiplayer tower building game. Players have to build a tower and be faster and better at it than their opponents. To spice things up, players use magic spells to support their structure or mess up the towers of their opponents. With spells flying everywhere and tetramino, whatever, dropping like flies, Tricky Towers gives players a chaotically good time.
Tetris blocks.
Basically, yeah.
Tetromino.
Yeah. It's coming to PS4 as well. I'm not sure if it's the same launch day though. Oh my god, this is fucking Tetris, but you're building a tower.
Yeah.
So you're trying to, instead of trying to make a line of, was it 4 in Tetris? Or no, 8.
Yeah.
8? Yeah, instead of trying to make a line of 8, you're just building up a tower that's higher than your opponent's. Watching the trailer right now.
Yeah, I can't do that because then
so exciting.
My recorder will pick it up, and I don't want to do that.
Just reminds me of tower blocks.
This is kind of cool.
Well, maybe someone can check it out and let me know.
0 out of 10.
By the time I
Best
check
game
it
ever.
out, you will probably already have checked it out. Because that's how long it takes me to get to games.
True. Very true. I know that about you, Frost.
Maybe sometime in 2017 I'll
Nice. Game of the Year 2017. Okay, moving on. So this is a little thing I created just because I found a couple of these that I thought were kind of entertaining. This is called Funny Names on Metacritic. We'll probably have a better name for this at some point. But these are games that I just saw the name of and I was like, wow, why would you name your game that? So I've got 3 entries today. The first is Extreme Forklifting 2. As in, there was an Extreme Forklifting 1. It's on PC and it's also on iPhone and iPad.
Oh, yay, a mobile game.
Yeah. It's a mobile game ported to Steam.
That'll sell great on Steam.
Yeah.
Like every other mobile game that gets ripped to pieces in the fucking reviews.
I think what just gets me is that it's Extreme Forklifting 2, implying that they had funds left after Extreme Forklifting 1 to create a sequel.
Does it have item gambling? Because that would be cool.
Josh!
Hello.
Hi there,
I'm
Josh.
here. How's it going? I hear we're talking about Metacritic.
Yeah, basically, this is a little set thing I invented. Basically, just we're probably gonna change the name at some point, but it's called Funny Names on Metacritic. Basically, these are games that I found that just have absolutely absurd names. So the first one is Extreme Forklifting 2.
Yeah.
Like I said, implying there was a Forklifting 1. The next one is, and these all have weird names and they don't have summaries. That's why I didn't pick them for the for the actual list of games coming out. This one's called The Road to Ballhalla, which sounds good, but there's no summary or anything.
Oh, what the fuck? Is that all one word?
Yeah, it's ball, like Ballhalla, Ballhalla.
Keeps trying to correct Ballhalla to Valhalla.
Stop it, Google.
God damn it, Google. The Road to Ballhalla.
Can anyone get any footage on this for me? Like, does this actually look good?
Save 20% on Road to Ballhalla on Steam.
Well,
Okay,
that's
on the
not
Steam
good.
page. Here is the copy video address. Just dumped the video into chat.
Yeah, I can't watch the video.
It's what the fuck?
I like
Checking it out.
I'm literally watching this right now.
It's like it looks kind of like a physics game, like Super Monkey
Oh, I can just
Ball.
I can
think it's
just
from the
watch it.
same team that did what is that game called?
Fuck?
No Time to Explain.
Oh,
Tiny Build?
yeah,
that's
the
what it
publisher's Tiny Build. I'm watching.
Oh, that's
this,
just the publisher.
Yeah, I'm watching the Steam video because you can watch it without the music on.
Mm-hmm.
It actually doesn't look too bad.
Indeed.
This looks fun.
Yeah,
I'm in.
Yeah,
puzzle
that actually
games.
looks pretty fun.
looks like a good time. Well, they should have a summary on Metacritic. Anyway, last entry, and this is my favorite one because it's just so amazing in every way and form. The game is just called Halp. H-A-L-P with an exclamation point in all caps. Halp.
Oh my god.
I'm dying.
That's my favorite Beatles song.
I don't know how this happened.
That was a 60s
That was
joke.
funny.
Why this happened, but it's amazing. And I just want to know these people to know how much I appreciate them, even though nothing is posted on Metacritic as to who they are or why they had made this wonderful invention.
A Google search brought up a bunch of threads from different places
it's on Steam
throughout the
too.
internet.
It's on
Is
Steam.
it?
Yeah, it is. Here, I'll.
I would write
Check Steam then.
the Metacritic. God, what is the description?
Free to
I can't
play.
think of words.
Somebody help.
Oh wait,
The,
here's
the
the.
description, the description I would write would be help.
Oh, it's a VR game.
They
It's a
need
VR
somebody. Help, not just anybody.
Help is a single-player VR sandbox puzzle game where you help a stranded scavenger pirate captain fix his broken ship for space worms attack, or where you don't do that and you enjoy poking around and messing with the ship's various gizmos and contraptions. Available August 1st, 2016.
Dramatic reading with Steve.
And sports both HTC Vive and Oculus Rift.
Hell yeah, it does.
Well, okay.
Again, this doesn't look too bad. It's just that Metacritic is kind of just like whatever on it.
Yeah, Metacritic might have shit the bed and not picked up the Steam descriptions for any of those games.
I don't know. It's probably on the PR team to send that shit out.
Yeah, I guess. But still,
I always thought Metacritic scraped the stuff from websites. Oh well.
oh well, who knows? All right, so that about wraps up the funny games on Metacritic. Now we're going to move on to the topic of the show. Okay, so I purposely left out a news story from before because it does lead directly into our topic of the show. This one comes from GameSpot. No Man's Sky fan buys leaked copy and posts videos. No Man's Sky is one of the most anticipated games of the year, and it's supposed to launch on August 9th on PS4 and PC. But one fan got his hands on the game early and has begun posting videos of it online. A person going by the username of Damien, which is spelled Daymeeuhn. Damien apparently purchased a leaked PS4 copy of the game for a really large sum, according to this post on Reddit. He spent $1,250 for the chance to play it early. He's also...
Was it worth it?
It says that the eBay listing has since been removed, so take that number with a grain of salt. He has also begun publishing videos of the game on Dailymotion, and he says that he'll continue to do so. That's surely not what the publisher Sony or developer Hello Games wanted. And it's likely Sony is attempting to get the videos removed from Dailymotion right now, which an update saying that yes, they have been removed. But people are now taking those Dailymotion videos and just kind of spreading them out on like YouTube and other streaming sites as well. So
yeah, it's out there now.
So this article leads into our topic of the show. Basically, someone was so excited about the game that they actually spent a large amount of money on the game just to play it first, and then began putting the videos online because, you know, internet. The topic of the show is, are you guys really still interested or excited for No Man's Sky? And if not, why? If so, why?
No.
Yes.
Meh.
Shut up, Kyle.
Meh, for me too.
Well, why me?
I just found out I was muted. Yes, I'm interested.
Josh, you have a habit of that, man. You really do.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. I was eating lasagna. I just got home, so...
Lasagna takes precedence.
Yeah. So I had to mute myself so you're not hearing me, like, while he's talking about, like, house and all this stuff. So, no, I'm excited for the game. I have to probably put it off for, like, a week or two getting it, but I'm totally gonna get it.
So, I mean, like, this whole thing with... The beginning of this game was this has such a weird history, this game. Like, basically, if you guys remember, it came out as like a PC title at first. It was like this indie game that like everyone was like, oh, this looks really cool. But then that whole thing happened where the flood destroyed their whole studio and people thought the game was gone for good. And then Sony picked it up and said, hey, if we let us advertise this as a PS4 game, then you can still make the game. And of course they still let them make the PC version, as we're seeing, but there was actually kind of some like there was a little bit of uncertainty there. Like I remember there was a good stretch of time where they weren't saying anything about the PC version, but I don't know. So
now it's coming out later on the PC.
Yeah, it's coming out the same day now.
Oh, they just moved it back to the same day?
No, they pushed it back 2 days, I thought.
No. Yeah, that's what I heard.
It was just a rumor.
I read that the PC one got pushed back 2 days.
Well, this article from July 29th, or last update on July 29th. But, I mean, it's saying the 9th, and I haven't seen it change. I heard from the though, that it's supposed to be...
9th.
Yeah. But I guess we'll know if it comes out on Steam on the 9th. If not, whatever.
Basically.
So, I guess, Josh and Nate, why are you guys excited for this game?
Josh, go ahead.
Okay. I'm excited because I love space. And I love the fantasy of like exploring space and I just love the visual art style of the game. I love like the weird kind of mysterious obelisks like on the horizon that you go explore, and I like the fact that it has like combat and everything's random. And I mean, I expect like some stuff to kind of repeat in a way, but I just like, you know, it's kind of like a chill out game in a way. Like I don't have to think too hard. I'm not really pressured into doing anything I don't want to do. I don't know, and it just looks really beautiful. I mean, that's what I got.
Yeah, mine. I like it for pretty much all the reasons that Josh said. It's like the way that the developer or the main like creative force behind it described it as is like he saw the covers of those sci-fi books you see in the library and at bookstores from the 90s and 80s that looked so cool, and he wanted to make a game that looked like that constantly no matter what you did. And honestly, I think the art style, like Josh said, is gorgeous, and it really does look like that. Not only that, but it's just like a game that I could spend 15 minutes on a day just doing things and escaping and like doing things I always dreamed of doing. Not dreamed of doing, but like filling out my fantasies of like flying through space alone.
Being Spider-Man.
Being
Right.
Spider-Man in space.
Number one. I mean,
Sounds like a really useless power in space.
Yeah.
No, it's
Talking
great.
about.
It's like a grappling hook.
Unless you're on a space station, I mean. I don't know.
You'll just have to
But, yeah.
settle for the for the media player in the spaceship that lets him play as much Bible Black as he wants.
Oh, God.
All the Bible Black.
All of it.
Computer, give me the usual. Yeah, it just like it has this like mysterious thing. I think some people maybe are gonna be upset. I think maybe they're hoping for like this gone home epiphany that's gonna happen at like the center of the universe. They're gonna think this game's like life shattering. I really don't think it's gonna be that. I just expect to have fun and kind of mess around and like unlock stuff and go farther and farther, and I don't know. It just looks fun to me. I don't know. I can get like why some people be like, this doesn't look interesting to me, and it's like I totally understand, but to me this looks awesome. So
I totally agree. I think there are people out there with like delusions of grandeur about these amazing things that are going to happen, but I don't like have expectations like that. I think it's just going to be a cool way to spend like an hour every week just driving around in my ship. Do you drive ships? Is that a thing?
you do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you fly them, but sure.
Yeah, and I think that's like kind of the nicer thing about this as opposed to like Elite Dangerous, where like from what I'm getting from Elite Dangerous, you're kind of like space trucking basically, where you're like you're going from place to place and it's like long periods of you just sitting there doing nothing. Whereas I think No Man's Sky is kind of aiming more to be like you got the hyper warping and whatnot. You're just going planet to planet to planet. That's your objective. The one thing that I just isn't grabbing me, and like I get that's not the point, but there doesn't seem to be a real objective to the game.
Yeah, I can see why that would turn some people off, but like I think
I mean, the only
Minecraft is
objective
similar.
really is like to get to the center. Nobody knows what's at the center, which is kind of the point of the game. But I'm sure in like 2 days, someone will have got there, and
No,
the
somebody
spoilers
already
will be
got
out there.
The guy
Who just bought it. He's there.
Yeah, he got there in a couple hours.
Wow.
See, to me, it's like I totally understand the appeal of a game like this. I remember someone on Twitter tweeting at Mr. Gaynor. Is that the guy who's developing it?
Sean Murray.
Sean Murray, you're talking about.
Sean Murray.
Yeah. I get these fucking indie guys confused. They're all the fucking same, wearing plaid shirts and with 5 o'clock shadow.
Hey.
But
For sure. Yeah, Gainer's the guy
like,
who did Gone Home.
I totally get the point that it's like Minecrafty in its idea, that this like people can't wrap their minds around a game without a very clear defined like, oh, here's levels and then you beat it, and it's like it's not a game like that.
Or here's a story, as
Right.
opposed to like whatever happens to you kind of is the story.
Right, yeah. And that's what I feel like this game is, and that's totally fine. That's not my problem with it. My problem with the game is like they have done very little to explain what's in it, what you can do, what you can't do, because they've set these sort of limitless parameters around it, and I'm just like, that doesn't give me any information other than the fact that there are some planets with specific color palettes, and there are some planets with like dinosaurs and some with different dinosaurs and like
Some with different
mine
dinosaurs.
right.
Yeah.
Like,
Some with hostile dinosaurs. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah,
To me,
so,
though, like the mystery is what's interesting about it. Like getting to go just discover the mystery.
yeah, but like most of my questions with it are answered like within an hour of playing the game, right? So
Sure.
what's bigger to me is just like this game has been in the social conscience for quite a while, and when it got announced, it was like this fuse. It just exploded, and it became after PlayStation picked it up, like Dave was saying, this giant fucking just a big set piece moment during PlayStation E3 conferences and stuff like that. And it just became this point to me where it's like, I get what it is. I understand the point. I get what playing the game will probably like get me the feelings that I'll get, because like I said, I have a lot of questions about the game that will be answered fairly quickly. So it's like, to me, I'm just sort of over the idea. It's taken too long for me. and that's my only problem. Like, it's been a couple of years, and at this point in time, that's not the experience that I'm really looking forward to. If people are coming out and saying that it's like probably going to be a GOTY contender and it's amazing, then I'll pick it up just because I'll feel inclined to. But other than that, I don't think that this is going to be a personal game that I'm going to be super invested in. I'm very happy that people are super excited about it. I don't want to make it sound like, oh, why are you happy for a thing? It's just for me personally.
Why are you happy, period?
Yeah, exactly. That's how I feel like some people are about this game. Oh, don't you know?
That's how a lot of people are about everything. It's like no one can be excited about Call of Duty or anything because it's like,
why do you have opinions?
It's against the internet. Yeah,
it's against the internet.
You're not allowed to be excited about Call of Duty in space. The internet has decreased. It's like, no, you can be excited for whatever you want. It's like, just shut up. You know what?
I like old things. I don't like to change. That's basically what I hear from those people. They're like, Call of Duty Modern Warfare was better than this Call of Duty. Fuck that. I don't know. I'm fresh off a video where I was just talking about why I think modern games are just as good as retro games. But anyway, so with No Man's Sky, like the only thing that, and Kyle brought this up, is that like most of his questions get answered within the hour. Is that, you know, what does this game have that keeps players playing other than just being a thing where, okay, we'll go to the next planet. Okay, well, I just come to the next planet. And basically, it's just a dinosaur with a different shade of green. You know,
well, what keeps you playing Minecraft? You know,
that's a good point. It's a solid point.
Yeah, I was just gonna interject. A lot of the with No Man's Sky, a lot of the expectations and different stuff I've seen, and I'm about to go all PC elitist on you guys.
Go for it.
That y'all console gamers had. For
who are you talking to?
Yeah, I guess that's true. Most of you guys do just play on PC.
You're talking to Nate, goddammit.
I'm talking in
fucking Nate.
But
I play console.
But like a lot of the a lot of the expectations and questions about what do you do, what kind of is the main objective of the game. To me, that was always immediately clear when I first saw it. It's a game about exploring and surviving, and that's it. And to some people that probably sounds really boring, but there's an entire generation of kids who have played Minecraft for hundreds of thousands of hours just on that basis alone. You explore, you create, you survive.
Also,
that's it.
Also, it has like very deep RPG and like trading systems that people don't talk about enough, I don't think.
I do not want to play another Eve. Just gonna set that out there.
I don't think it'll be Eve.
Basically,
yeah,
I'm not saying that it is. I'm just drawing the comparison. Eve is too much.
Basically, this game will get my game of the year if I land on a planet and I immediately get attacked by raptors with jetpacks. That's basically what I need in my life, and they have rocket launchers.
What is this? In case of emergency, release raptors.
I'm not too big on the algorithm stuff these days anyway. Like, I get the idea, but I'm really more interested in curated experiences from a developer. Like, they want to show me a thing. So to me, the idea that like I could go see anything, you know, like that's not obviously true, because like you'll start eventually seeing things that are just continuing, like, oh, that has the same head as this thing. And I'm sure that they have created enough. I think they come out and said there's like the amount of different things that are possible in the game is like some gigantic number, but like we've seen with Spore, you know, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be great.
Yeah.
We have 10,000 monsters and 100 million of them are penises.
Exactly. I would love to see No Man's Sky populated with penis monsters.
So would I, honestly.
I think everybody would.
No Man's Eye. But I mean, I honestly, I think they probably made enough different stuff for you to play for maybe. I think people are misunderstanding. I feel like a lot of people might expect like, this is a game I'm going to play for 100 hours. This is probably a game I'm going to play for 10 hours and then never play again. Like, and in that time, will I ever run into the same thing twice? Maybe, but like unless you're playing for like 200 hours, you know, maybe maybe there's enough variation for you to play for the 10 or 15 hours that you're probably going to play, and then you're going to be like, yeah, that was cool. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So
Josh,
I don't know. I think people who pay for $60 games have this weird expectation that this is going to be this sprawling, amazing experience. It's like, you know, stuff can be good when it's 2 hours long.
Yeah.
You know,
Not
I don't
everything
need
is
every
Witcher 3.
game to be The Witcher. I don't want every game to be The Witcher. I would just stop playing video games because
Yeah,
like,
too much.
that's
Too much.
too much fucking yeah.
I'm done.
it's too much.
But at the same time, I mean, of course, this kind of drifts us into that argument that is $60 asking too much if you're only playing it for 10 hours and then putting it down? I mean, granted,
It just depends on the specific experience.
Yeah,
I mean, it depends on however much that experience is worth to you, and if it's not worth $60, just wait.
Yeah,
Yep,
I totally
that's what I
agree.
do.
I pose the question more to get it out there. I completely
Yeah.
agree that the content that you play is what matters. Granted, there's examples from across the board. There's, games like The Order 1866, whatever.
1886.
Yeah. $60 game, 4 hours long. People were pissed at it not because of its length, but because it just wasn't really that good.
It's like, to me, whenever you bring up the argument that, like, okay, I paid this much for this, and I only got this amount of time out of it, therefore it's a disappointing experience in general. And I know I'm speaking of a place of privilege because when I bought The Order specifically, it was when it was $20.
Yeah.
And so to me, I spread that gameplay experience out over the course of a week because my gaming time is not super long. Like I come home from work and then I have essentially a second job to do, like we all do.
Yeah, we all do.
So, I wasn't able to just rush through that game very quickly. And when I was done with it, I was like, oh, okay, that was substantial and it was satisfying. And then when I remember us talking about it on the old show, where it was like, oh, okay, well, you bought it for $20 and I bought it for $60 and I beat it in about a day. And like, I can understand the disappointment there, but it's like, if I go and see it, like, if I pay money for a TV show, like, just as an example, Louis C.K. just did this weird show project called Horace and Pete. I don't know if anyone here's seen it.
Nah.
But the pricing model was really weird because what he did was he released it on his website, and each episode was priced at a different range because of how much money he put into developing each episode, because he wrote the scripts differently for each episode. So like one episode is an hour, the next one is like 20 minutes. And it's like, if the experience to me is curated by the artist in a way that they think is substantial to their development of the said thing, then fine, that's what matters, because what matters is getting that guy paid. It's not, do I feel satisfied? And if as an experience, if it's completely, if it's critical enough to the point where like I am disappointed in the product itself, then okay, there's some criticism there of the product, but not of the experience tied to the product's time that you can play it and how much you spent for it. I think that's a weird argument to have, and people like having it. And to me, I always say this, video games is a business before an art, so it's weird for me to be like, oh, it's about the artist, but on top of that, it's also like the artist needs to get paid. So
yeah, not particularly disagreeing with any point there, Kyle. I mean, it's, people have to get paid. I understand that, especially in No Man's Sky's case. I mean, Sony put out a lot of money to make this happen, I imagine. So they're looking to get a return. Hello Games needs to get a return so that they can stay in business. I can kind of understand why the $60 price tag was put there. That being said, though, like, I don't know. I'm not sure granted, we'd all agree that game being less money is good, but I kind of picture this game being like a $40 title. I'm not sure if you guys saw it the same way.
That's where I saw it.
When it got announced, it was definitely seemed like something that would be $20. However, I think the scope expanded a lot since that initial thing, because there was even a news story about how they changed a lot of the decimals in the algorithm so that it would actually create even more planets, because they probably were making the game even bigger than it was. They probably got an injection of money and decided like, we were going to have to settle, but now we don't have to settle. We can make the game as big as we see fit, which is why like 3 years later it's finally coming out,
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're allowed to charge whatever they want for the freaking game as far as I'm concerned. It's up to everybody else to decide whether or not they want to buy it for that price. And I I can agree with stuff like that. Like, I didn't think Gone Home, as much as I loved it, was worth $20. That's why I waited till it was $10.
Yeah, me too.
You know, and at $10 for the hour and a half that I played it, and I obviously will never play it again because I already had it. I thought that was totally fine. So, I mean, it's whatever you're willing to pay. If you're not willing to pay $60, then don't buy it. I don't like, and then be mad about it. You know what I mean?
I mean, I think, and then granted, we're drifting into a different discussion here, but honestly, I think it's a good discussion to have. I think what you spend on a game also colors your expectations for it. And
yes,
totally,
definitely.
Like, I'll use the example that I spent, I think, $250 on Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, which was, albeit a 4-hour game, but it was probably one of the most like deeply affecting experiences I've had in a long time. And then, you know, I guess what I paid for it, like, if I had paid $20 for that game, I probably still would have come out of it liking it. If I had paid $60 for that game, probably not. Like, I don't like. So I think there's a point where
it's interesting you bring that up, though, right? Like, because I agree with you. It's impossible to detach the amount of money that you pay for a thing into how much enjoyment you come out of it.
Yeah.
But on that same token, like, the experience you had with Brothers is like, that should be universal, right? Like, that story and whatever happened affected you for the reasons because of how it was structured,
right,
what the artist did with that game. And so, yeah, I agree. You can't really disarm yourself to that sort of stuff coming into your opinions about a game.
Right.
But I also feel like, you know, at the end of the day, if we're just talking about like people that are arguing about No Man's Sky's price tag, right?
Right.
Then you are asking the developer to be like, why won't you give me what I expect of this game instead of what you expect of it? Right. And I think that's what bothers me about that notion. I completely agree with you guys that, like, yes, it's impossible to detach yourself from that opinion seeking and well, I mean, it's probably the reason why The Order was so disappointing to most people.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a mix of that, and it's also just a mix of people being cheap bastards. But you know,
I am one of those people.
Yeah, I mean, I
just wait. I don't complain though.
It's totally valid. Like, nowadays, like, I used to buy back when I just started college. I bought everything. Now I'm like, I wait until, unless it's something that I'm like, I absolutely want this. Like, you know, WoW Legion. I love Warcraft more than most other gaming franchises ever, you know. So it's like, of course I'm gonna buy WoW. Like, I'm gonna pre-order WoW Legion. But then if it's something like, you know, I don't know, anything else, like just any other friend, like Wolfenstein. Sure, I have like a long-standing love of Wolfenstein, but it's like, I'm probably gonna wait for something like that to be like $15, you know. Because I don't have a lot of time. Or if it's like some brand new franchise that's coming out, then I think kind of looks cool. Unless it like really blows me away, like a Horizon or something. Like, I'm gonna probably wait on it. So I don't blame people for waiting for No Man's Sky. It's not like that experience is gonna get worse as time goes on. It's not like people are ever gonna explore all the planets because.
Well, and it's not a multiplayer game either.
And it's also it's also not a multiplayer game. It's not like it requires you to play with other people.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Sure, people will be like, I know a lot of people, like, there's a lot of discussion about, like, missing the conversation, quote unquote, you know, which, and like the fear of missing out. But I think this is one of those games that, like, you could probably just come back to at some point, and it will be totally fine. You'll be finding stuff that nobody's ever found before because the universe is so vast that I think, didn't they say it would take you like 10,000 years of constantly playing to do everything or something? Like, only if you spent like 1 second on each planet.
Is this game going to become inoperable after they find the center of the universe? Because it's going to be like everyone's going to find it, right?
Not necessarily. I mean, if somebody stops playing, then
there's also been some reports that you don't require a PlayStation. What's the fucking PlayStation?
You don't require PlayStation Plus to play
you don't require PlayStation Plus to play it. So it's not like if one person does something in the universe that affects your own experience when you play it on your instance of the game. So
wait, so does that mean everyone who's playing the game, in order to beat it, you need to find the center of the universe, which
yeah, but I think once you find it, you don't
you
necessarily like. It's not necessarily over. Like you can just keep playing, but that's like the goal.
Like I don't, but like to find out your universe's middle of the universe thing, does that mean everyone has to go there themselves?
I don't think it's like the goal of the game. I think it's just like a thing that's there.
Yeah, like I was gonna say, it's not the goal of the game. The goal of the game is...
Sean Murray himself has said like the goal of the game is to get to the center of the universe.
But
like the purpose of the game, I think, is
explore shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's you should keep playing because you enjoy exploring stuff. That's like the central premise of the game.
I'm just wondering, like,
I think it's kind of like
when player A, the first guy, gets there, does that affect everyone else? And now everyone knows?
It doesn't affect anybody else.
I don't think.
I think it's like.
I feel like I'd rather just wait until someone gets there, and then I'll just be like, okay, I'll see what he put up on YouTube.
I think it's like the Minecraft with the end, how you can go through that whole campaign that kind of beats Minecraft, but like you can still play Minecraft and not ever do that. I think it's kind of similar to that whole idea.
Yeah.
I'm just.
I personally, I don't really want to know what's there. Like I've been on media blackout about this game for a long time, so I don't even know like what you do moment to moment. I have no idea. I don't want to know. I want to play the game and find out. And if the game sucks, then so be it. But I think I'm gonna enjoy it. But and I don't blame people for being skeptical because I've been burned by games. Like I bought Thief and Watch Dogs for $60, and I hated those games. So
yeah, it happens to the best of us, really. I mean, I'm kind of sitting at, like, I'm just above meh. I'm kind of excited, but I'm drifting into meh. So it's like, you know, I mean... Sorry, what?
I mean, that's better, I mean, that's better than being at no where I'm at, Dave, so...
Yeah, true. I mean,
It's just not my type of game is the thing.
That's,
like, it sounds great.
That's basically why I'm not excited for it. I don't like open-ended survival exploration experiences very much, so I'm like when I first saw it, I'm like, oh, this looks kind of cool, and then when I kind of learned more about the scope of it, I was kind of like, oh, well.
I don't know. This is necessarily a quote-unquote survival game. Like it's like you're eating and creating structures and stuff.
You haven't looked at the most recent trailers they put out. It is a survival game.
It's a pretty big theme of the.
Yeah, it's actually they have a whole video dedicated to it.
Yeah, but I wouldn't call it like.
sorry.
It's like it's not Rust, you know.
Yeah, but it's like it doesn't have to be like Rust, like entirely like Rust to be a survival game. It shares a number of similar elements with it, like so like that would make it. I feel like that's like
calling Borderlands an RPG. Like it's got heavy.
It is a really shitty RPG, but it's an RPG.
Frostbite and that fire.
Just
Borderlands.
Just for me, it's just like I'm playing I Am Setsuna. I've probably got a few more hours in that game. This game will come out while I'm still playing it. I'm fine.
Okay. Cool.
I mean, I don't mean to say like you guys should be like me and play I Am Setsuna, but that's just what I meant.
Yes, you are. Just kidding.
Yes,
you guys should play I Am Setsuna. Kyle Bradford.
I'll wait till I Am Setsuna's like $5.
Yeah, me too.
So good. It's so good.
Because I honestly don't know anything about it. I've just heard people describe it, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds like something I can wait for.
Final Fantasy X, Chrono Trigger. They had sex. It's the child.
Sure.
Is that a real thing?
It's covered in snow.
No, Josh, it's not a real thing.
Oh, I was like, is that like a real fan theory? Because that sounds interesting.
How can two games have sex?
Dude, I don't know,
I think we're sliding.
Video games are weird.
Exactly. I think we're sliding off the rails.
This is a dream.
We are sliding off the rails a little bit here. So, just want to ask, do we have any final thoughts about No Man's Sky? Have our opinions changed at all over the course of this discussion?
No, still gonna buy it. Still gonna play it and have a good time.
Kyle,
I see you guys.
Hopefully, have a good time. Is what I should say.
I see you guys as like menace, and I'm okay with that. I'm not gonna like say you need to be excited for this game. It's gonna be the best thing ever.
I really don't care what you guys play as long as you just don't talk shit about what I like to play.
I mean,
I don't like space.
I'm still interested in seeing what like the post-release stuff looks like for it. Because when I initially saw it, I was kind of like, oh man, this game looks really like stylized, really cool, and I would like to kind of learn more about it. But if I end up learning more about it and finding out it's more like it is more of that kind of survival kind of stuff, then yeah, that's completely out the window, because I don't enjoy those kinds of games. So
yeah, I hear ya.
Yeah, I think there's such a mystery around this game. I'll be interested to see when reviews start coming out, because really, I think they could be anywhere on the scale at this point.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm sure people will absolutely adore this game, and some people will absolutely hate it.
Yep.
But I mean, you could say that about anything. There's
Very
people
true.
that hate
really
some of the best games, in my opinion, like of all time. So
Very true. Very
Like
true.
The Order.
like The Order. Well, you like The Order, right?
I do.
I haven't played it yet, so I don't have an opinion on it.
Oh.
I
thought you were in the
own
camp
it.
of
I bought it for
hating
like $5 last Christmas. I just never played it. So
All right. Well,
that's something I gotta do at some point.
yeah. So, we have any final thoughts, gentlemen, or are we ready to wrap up?
If they put a raid in it, I'm down.
They put a raid in it. Yeah, they put a raid in No Man's Sky. I'm down. Let's
Once
do it.
again, Hello Games, Raptors with jetpacks. That's all I want.
Yeah. Jurassic Park 4.
Exactly.
That's already a thing.
Yeah, it's called Jurassic World, and I
Yeah.
didn't want anything to do with it.
It was a bad
Yeah.
movie. Don't believe the people that tell you
It
it's good.
looked bad.
I kind of like
And you're
it.
telling
the
me it was
computer.
bad, so I'll believe you.
Yeah, you know what? Let's not dive
Yes.
into that discussion.
Let's. I'm
Yeah.
wait,
Okay.
wait, are we talking about Jurassic World?
Yes.
Fuck that
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
The movie is fucking awful.
That was the consensus.
We agree.
Welcome to the consensus.
I like how we can end the
As
podcast
it
on
eats
this
you.
random agreement we
Be
have.
excited about
Yep.
No Man's Sky. Order 1886 was bad.
Okay, guys, I think that will about do it for tonight's episode. Once again, we are the Geek Tank, and you guys can find us on YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, every other platform every single week. If you like listening to this, please make sure to leave us a like or a favorite. Just let us know you enjoy our show, because whether or not it's your first or 15th time listening in, you are an honorary member of the Geek Tank Battalion. Thanks for watching, guys. We will see you next week.
Peace out.
Bye.
Hashtag fuck the Windows Store.